your start in bowling? When did you actually start?
I think I was around 3 or 4 years old at Annapolis at Colonial Lanes, and my parents got me involved in youth bowling in the prep leagues. Pat Collison, I believe, was the coach for the little ones, the little kids, and both of my parents were duckpin bowlers. They bowled in Annapolis, and I came up through the preps, the juniors, and the majors. Those were our 3 divisions at the time. And my mom was a coach of mine, a very dear family friend of ours who has since passed on, Louise Sunderland. She was another coach of mine, and a coach as well as a pro mentor was Barbara Lee. And she was one of the folks from Annapolis, Colonial Lanes, that actually bowled in the Pro Tours. Evelyn Bacon was a Pro Tour member. That's Susan Phillips' mom, who she bowled on the ladies' tour. From the men's, we had Hal Sherbert and his son Denny Sherbert.
Okay.
A few years. So we had a handful of pro bowlers that bowled either the tour or the tour and travel leagues. So it was real interesting, but yep, came up through the ranks. And back then, when Jeff and I won for the majors in the state tournament one year. It was in '74. He won for the boys and I won for the girls. And when you turned 18, if you were 18 for that season for youth bowling, you could bowl, but then that was it. That was as far as it went. 18 was the cutoff. I think it's 21 now or something like that.
Okay.
But yeah, but it was 18 back then. 100 years ago.
Yeah.
Before Colonial Lanes existed, the Duckpin Bowling Lanes was on West Street in Annapolis, over top of the old Evening Capitol building. One of the Tamanio brothers, I don't remember which one, but one of the Tamanio brothers owned it. And they had, from what I understand, pretty good leagues there. And but then the building was being sold or something. I don't remember the logistics about that. But then Bob Davidson had Colonial Lanes and he had Severna Park Lanes. So the leagues that were in the bowling center on West Street, majority of them decided to go ahead and move to Colonial Lanes. And so that's how that pretty well got the shot in the arm, the extra bowlers and stuff. But I mean, Colonial Lanes, once upon a time, it didn't need any extra booster shots. I mean, that house was filled, 40 lanes filled.
Yeah.
7 nights a week, and sometimes, depending on the leagues, had 2 shifts.
Right.
When I finally came out of the Annapolis leagues, when I came out of the youth leagues, Eddie Berggraf.
Okay. Youth Lemont round.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. For years, he kept saying, "Are you ready to go pro? You're going to turn pro? You're going to join the pro tours?" I said, "No, I'm not ready yet. I need to bowl in legitimate adult leagues. I don't want to come right out of youth leagues and go into the pro tours," because I saw a friend of mine who did that in Annapolis, and it didn't turn out so well. And so I figured I needed to get a little bit more out of the kids scene into the adult scene, have that under my belt a little bit more. So, and I had Barbara Lee, who was mentoring me as far as the pro tour went, and she totally agreed. She said, stick with a couple of years in that, and then move forward. And then my first pro league I bowled in was Jimmy's Crab House League at Capitol Plaza, and Tommy Clow was my partner. And I don't remember the year, but we actually set a world record for 3-game mixed doubles, and it held for 1 night. The very next night, B. Seek and her partner broke it.
Oh.
I mean, we didn't even get the ink dried on, on it, and it was like, oh man. So that was my first taste of having a world record. But yeah, but it was funny. We joke about that a lot. But it was yeah. I didn't just come right out of adult leagues and go into pro leagues. I didn't do that.
Was that a strictly mixed doubles league, or was it just a case of a doubles league where it was a one male and one female?
It was a mixed doubles
Strictly
league,
mixed doubles
and
league.
it was a pro league.
Okay.
Yes, I mean I mean, you talking about this kid being scared? Oh yes, you had Gabe Mead and Bob Wilson, okay, as partners. You had Jimmy and Jackie as partners. Marty Alfred and Donna Stevens.
Wow.
Ruby.
Evans.
Yes, Ruby Evans and Basil Boone. They were partners. Oh man, I mean Jeff. I forget who he was bowling with, but oh yeah, they were folks that I grew up through the ranks of the youth leagues, hearing their names, and so here I am in the mixed of them, and I'm thinking, what have I done?
Yeah.
What have I done? But you know, who knew? That was the start of
Your pro league, pro career. I
Yeah,
guess you could
yes.
say. Yeah.
yeah.
So it actually started on a mixed doubles league.
Yes, and it was a double. They had so many teams that you had to have 2 shifts. So some weeks you bowled the early shift at 6:30 or 7 o'clock, I forget which, and some weeks you bowled the second shift, which started at 11 o'clock at night. But it's doubles, and I mean they were fast. They were fast bowlers, fast pace, and but so you were done, you know, fairly decent time, and. Jeff and I were talking about this not too long ago. After you bowled, it didn't matter whether you bowled the first shift or the second shift. A lot of bowlers went to Lanham Inn for pizza, or down the street. I forget the other place he was talking about. But yeah, I mean, it was just a whole different atmosphere
Right.
back then.
Oh.
A whole different atmosphere.
Yeah. A lot more bowlers, a lot more houses, a lot more friendships.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And even on the pro tour when you bowled, well, because it started out for the LPDT, it was 2 10-game blocks. I mean, you had you bowled 2 shifts to qualify. You bowled your it was 10 games. Okay, so you bowled your 5-game block, and then you left. You took a break. The next shift came in to bowl their first 5-game block. When they were done, then you were coming back on the lanes to bowl your last 5-game block. And all in between all of that, you went back to the hotels, and normally you had hotels with adjoining rooms. So everybody opened all the rooms, all the doors. You could see straight down for 5 or 6, you know, card games going, depending upon who it was. The guys might have been icing their arms down or whatever the case may be, but
Yeah.
it was a whole different atmosphere as far as friendship and camaraderie went.
Yeah.
But the minute you stepped on those lanes, it was all business. Friend or no friend, all business.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good way to do it.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the way Jackie taught me too. She says, I don't want to see you doing all that. She says, you get up there. They're out there to beat you just like you're out there to beat them. You
Yeah.
up on those lanes, nobody's your friend because they want to beat you so bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I-
And she was right.
yeah.
She was right.
Yeah, you compete.
And anybody who says differently nowadays, that they're not out to beat their best friend, they're selling you a load of goods.
I remember the first time I met you, it was at Suitland, and it was you joined our team because one of our bowlers, Paul Newman, which was not the actor, but the
Yeah.
Paul Newman we had.
I
was
went
a
to school with Paul.
a better bowler than the actor.
Yes.
But yeah, you and I and Rick Holt, I think, was the third player.
Oh, yes.
So yeah, that was. But when I first saw you bowl, I said, "Dang, this woman is really good."
Thank you.
So yeah, I think we did okay in that league. 'Cause that was a tough league.
Yeah. Oh, yes. A lot of those leagues that I bowled in at Suitland, and you bowled in them as well. They were really tough leagues.
Yeah.
They really were. When Ron had first met me in bowling, he always, and till the day he drew his last breath, he always likened my my style and my persona and attitude on the bowling lanes equal to Sue Brown Marchone and Jackie Deach.
Okay.
And I thought that that was some of the highest compliments that I could ever have been paid.
It is.
Unfortunately, I've never personally gotten to meet Sue Marchone, but I know Bob. I know her husband, and I actually bowled with him in a couple tournaments over at PG College Park.
Okay.
But yeah, I never actually got to see Sue bowl. But I thought, as well as I know her history, that was a very high compliment.
Yeah, I've never met her either, but I hear all kinds of stories about her. Really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Your style was actually similar from what I remember to Jackie's, in that you both kind of had the spin ball, not a lot of speed, but just accuracy.
Right.
Was involved in that.
Definitely not a lot of speed. Her son Dale would always say that I looked like I was shooting BBs at center box.
Oh.
I said, thank you, I think. But yeah, no, speed wasn't my game, you know. It just wasn't. I depended more on accuracy than anything.
Yeah, that's the beauty of duckpin bowling, is that everyone has a different style. And you don't have to throw it that hard to get the results.
No.
And I think you're living proof of that. Yeah, you've had, how many tour wins have you had?
6 WNBA tour wins.
Okay, 6. And do you remember what the first one was approximately compared to the last one? Like how many years apart was the first?
It was a long dry spell.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The first one was around, oh mercy.
Mid-80s or around 90?
No, it would have been probably, let me think for a second, maybe early to mid-90s.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was Hagerstown. And I beat Harriet Horton. Debbie Lacey was on the ladder as well. And I don't remember the other ladies, but I came up from wild card, I think. I think that was one of the ones. No, I was top seed on that one, sorry. But then after doing that, I mean, winning my first pro tour was incredible enough. That was when Frank Turner had the winner of the women's tour go over to Longmeadow and bowl the winner of the men's tour. And who won that one? Steve Ivorone.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh dear God in heaven. So I kept telling myself, it's just for fun, it's just for fun. But I did want to beat him.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, I almost made a monkey in the 10th frame to do it. Wow. It was like this close. Frank Turner, I think, almost had a heart attack. but it was a lot of fun. And yeah, you're tired, you know, you're tired after that. But it's kind of, I don't even know if they still do that anymore, but it was something that you kind of looked forward to.
Yeah.
A little bit, yeah. And Mike Steiner won that weekend for the Pro Tour. No, he won another stop. I won 2 Hagerstown stops.
Okay.
And he won another, the second Hagerstown stop that I won. He won that one.
Okay, so you bowled him in...
I did, yes.
If they still did it at that time.
Yeah.
Well,
I didn't beat him either.
that match with Steve Ivorone had to be the big contrast, your slow ball against his fireball.
Exactly, yes, very much so. In fact, we've had a little bit of conversation back and forth on Facebook about it every once in a while, and he remembers it.
Yeah.
He remembered it.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you bowled, you have a consecutive streak of the ladies all-star tournament, and you rolled how many years in a row before you missed one?
28 years.
28.
28 years, and the only thing that kept me from going into the 29th was I had fallen on the ice in February of that same year and broke my wrist, my right wrist.
Oh.
So I was not ready to bowl in March for that.
You always had it around that St. Patrick's Day weekend. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. In fact, the first time I threw a ball after breaking my wrist and all was the Hagerstown tour in May of that year. And I was I was very afraid, but and I only missed the cut by a couple of pins. And so I was pretty proud of myself then, considering coming off of a broken wrist, not knowing what to expect, and bowling 8 games.
Yes.
With having 10 pins and 2 plates in my wrist.
Yeah,
It changes. It changes the way you hold the ball and the way you throw it. Because I can't turn my wrist over as much as I used to.
Right.
So yeah, you kind of had to learn how to do it a little differently.
Yeah, 8 games with coming off a broken wrist. That's got to be grueling.
8 games is bad enough on a good wrist, much less after a broken wrist. Yeah, it was tired. Definitely iced that and the knee down. So.
Right.
Yeah.
And you won the Ladies All-Star in what year? 2002?
2. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you remember who you played in that tournament? Or I know it's kind of hard to distinguish the Pro Tours from the All-Star and who you might have played in the final. But,
gosh, I'm trying to remember. I might have been Melissa Grieber. I'm not really sure. I don't remember.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't
Another
remember.
good bowler, though. Yeah. She's another top
top-notch
player. Has to be.
Melissa or Sharon, maybe, but I can't recall.
Okay.
I'd have to look at pictures.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and you actually set some world records in the 30-game classic in the mid to late 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the 25-game record, 30-game record for pinfall. And do you remember much about that tournament?
I remember that it was a Ray Adams one for the men.
Okay.
But it was interesting for me bowling in all the different houses.
Right.
I'd never bowled at Glenmont before, and that one almost killed me. That one almost literally took me out of the tournament because I had a really hard time figuring the lanes out with the way I throw my ball. I struggled. I really did.
Right.
And it knocked me down a few paces in the standings, but then I think the next one was at Falls Church. And I had never bowled at Falls Church before, but the people were going nuts with the way I was bowling there because they said that the house didn't score like that. And I'm like, well, okay, I'm just throwing my ball. And I think was college. Oh, Suitland. I think Suitland was one.
Yeah.
One of the houses. I don't remember the last house that it was in. Was it over in Bowie?
Either Bowie or College Park.
Yeah, I can't remember if it was Bowie or College Park. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was one of the Fairlanes or AMF houses back then. But yeah, but I sort of remember the last stop being there.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I thought it was an incredible feeling to bowl in that tournament simply because I grew up hearing about that and never ever thought in a million years that I'd be able to participate in it, much less win it. I mean, any tournament or pro tour that I've ever won, nothing has ever been a given. And if you take it as it's a given, then shame on you because it can change at any second. And there were a lot of incredible bowlers that bowled in that event. I mean, you're talking 30 games. So a game can change from frame to frame in the same house, much less different houses that you bowl in.
Mm-hmm. Right. Exactly. Yes, quite an accomplishment to win that.
Yes. I was in. I just any of my accomplishments I still look back and talk with family members about them or friends when they find out that I was a duckpin bowler and they're just amazed at and I just say I'm blessed. I just really am blessed.
Yeah, I think you've ranked nationally #1 in your career, if I'm not mistaken.
2 years back to back.
Back to back.
Mm-hmm.
That's really good. And I think you're unique in that you actually ranked #1 in GWDA and the Baltimore Association.
Yes, I did.
Yes.
At the same year, right? Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's really good.
Yeah, and for GWDA, it was 6 I ranked number one for the women 6 or 7 times in the GWGA.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, there again, it was a ton of talent. I mean, I was just always in awe of beating out the likes of Diane Sicca, Diane Jasper,
Yeah.
and Pat Rinaldi, and Betty Byram, and Betty Jennings. Betty Jennings was Betty Byram, and then Betty Caputo, and I mean, it was like, wow.
Yeah, all kinds of bowlers. Eleanor Williams.
I was going to say, Eleanor was in there, yes.
Donna Stevens.
Yes, exactly. And
Kathy Taylor, I think, was another one. Another good bowler.
yep,
Yeah, so a lot of really good ones.
absolutely.
So you got several accomplishments with the Duckpin Bowling. One is that you were the 1984 Rookie of the Year, the ladies, was it the
LPDT, Ladies Pro Duckpin Tour.
Ladies Pro Duck, before they changed it. Okay, yeah.
Yep.
So that was, do you remember what you were approximately averaging at the time when you joined the tour?
When I joined the tour, it was probably about a 34, 35, something like that.
And amongst the other, that Rookie of the Year, you've got several, at least you had several world records with the 4-game mixed doubles with, was that Ron Johnson?
Yes.
Okay. If I remember right, was it 692 for your score?
That's what I had, yes.
Your score. And Ron had 633. So that's quite a bit. That's 1325 for a 4-game record.
Yeah. And my 692 also happened to be a world record for women's 4 games.
Okay, and that was all in the, which tournament was that?
The Chesapeake doubles, that was held at Severna Park.
Okay.
And it wasn't a mixed doubles, it was a doubles, any combination.
Okay. That was around 1991.
Yes.
So, yeah. Yeah, that's really good. Yeah.
That was exciting.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess 692 is for 4 is pretty astronomical. That's when you think about 700 for 4 is 175 average. So that's calculates to 173, I think. So that's something.
I did fairly good at times.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I got my first national rank trophy, the Nationals was being held in Connecticut. And of course that's when they normally present the #1 male bowler and the #1 female bowler with their national award. And Ron and I got in the truck and we went to Connecticut and we bowled in the tournament a little bit, and then we had the banquet, and then when we came home on Sunday, my beautiful national trophy was sitting in the back seat and it had a seat belt around it. I wasn't taking, and I think we actually put a pillow around it as well, because I wasn't taking any chances on that getting destroyed before I got home.
Yeah.
It equates to an Oscar or an Emmy. I mean, it really does. And whether you have 1 or whether you have 21, it is not only an honor, but it's a lot of hard work to accomplish that level. Again, you have a lot of qualified bowlers out there that you have to beat, and it was grueling. You had to bowl so many league games and so many tournament games to have your average considered.
Yeah.
To be able to be ranked from 1 to 20, or if you fell short of your number of games that you needed to have, but you had an outstanding average, then you got honorable mention. So I mean, once upon a time, that was a major goal that bowlers shot for. I'm not sure how the mindset nowadays on bowlers are, but once upon a time, yes, that was the prestigious award.
Yeah. That's understandable too, because you're putting in, well, just for your leagues alone, you're putting in 3 hours a night, 35 weeks a year, that's 100 hours just for the one league.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of dedicated effort. And if you bowl several leagues, you tournaments, a lot of time out of your life goes into something like that, and to reach the level of being at the top, where you're recognized as number one,
Right.
that's it's worthy of preserving that memory, I'd say.
And there's a lot of folks out there that don't understand that really. The Pro Tour alone, to bowl a qualifying round, to qualify for the Pro Tour, you have to bowl 8 games straight. Then if you qualify, you come back on Sunday. The qualifying can be Friday night or Saturday, but you come back to bowl in the semifinals, which is a round robin. I believe they still do a round robin, and you have 5 divisions depending upon, or 4 A, B, C, D. Yeah, 4 divisions depending upon the number of bowlers. During the time that I bowled it, you had 4 divisions, and you bowled 5 games, and whoever had the top wins and loss records won that division, and that determined where you were seated on the ladder.
Yeah.
If you had 2 women or 3 women that had the same won and loss records, then it went to pinfall, who had the highest pinfall for the total 5.
Okay.
Then you there was a wild card that came out of one of those divisions. And then the wild card, okay, so you had 8 qualifying games, then you bowled 5 more games. Now, if you happened to be the wild card, you started at the bottom of the ladder. That was potentially the first of 5 more games that you bowled. And I have been in that position at one time. So from a Saturday to a Sunday, I bowled in at least one Pro Tour that I can remember. I bowled 18 games because I started as a wild card and I actually went all the way up to the top of the ladder and I won. But yes, you had the potential of bowling 18 games in a Pro Tour.
Yeah. Not to mention, if you tie for that last spot, you might have a 1-game
roll off. Exactly. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's more than just coming in and bowling in a tournament.
Yeah.
It can be tough. I mean, it is tough. Any bowler that starts to bowl in that Pro Tour, they're all equally tough.
Yeah.
But then your physical makeup comes into play after maybe 4 games or 5 games, and you have to dig down deep inside or go grab a candy bar for extra energy and go on with the program.
Yes.
And
Right.
then hope that you can make the cut and come back and bowl the next day.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Yeah.
then some of the Pro Tours, they're not local, they're in Connecticut and Rhode Island.
Yeah, the expense of paying to travel, to lodging,
Mm-hmm.
to play in the tournament, and just the money you pay throughout the entire year. Put a lot of time and effort into bowling at that high level. So,
Right.
yeah.
That's why duckpin bowlers can never quit their day job.
Yeah. Right.
Never.
Yeah,
Seriously.
that's true. Yeah, we don't have sponsors that the other sports have.
No.
So, yeah. Yes, that's pretty much that's a major honor to receive that #1 trophy.
Yes, it
I
is.
think I would cherish it too.
Yes, it is. It's
Yeah.
not something that I took lightly ever.
Right.
Any of my accomplishments, I never took them lightly. I really was honored to get them, and very proud of it. I'm
Yes.
very proud of it. But as I said before, I mean, who knew as a 3 or 4-year-old kid who just liked bowling, how it was, I mean, it was a God-given talent.
Yes.
And I was fortunate enough to have placed in my path of this potential pro career the right people. The
Yes.
right people that were there to guide me and mentor me into where I'm lucky enough to have been.
Yeah.
I'm very grateful, very
Yeah.
grateful and very blessed.
I think you've done the sport proud.
Oh, thank you. It's very kind of you to say. Thank you so much.
Probably about all we have for today. I can't think of too much else we haven't covered or there is to cover. I appreciate you taking the time to talk with us.
Thank you.